Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Cotrillo. Today on the program, Senator Leila De Lima vows to go after her oppressors as she seeks justice for being jailed over drug charges. Nearly a year after being detained by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, two Pharmally executives are appealing to grant their release. And how is the campaign going with only 3 days left? Reelectionist Senator Richard Gordon joins us live. Senator Leila De Lima hopes to be free this year as two witnesses retracted their testimonies linking her to the illegal drug trade. In an interview with Rappler, De Lima says she will go after her oppressors whether she wins or loses her re-election bid. Meantime, two Pharmally executives appeal to grant their release nearly a year after they were jailed amid the probe of the alleged overpricing of medical supplies. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Reelectionist Senator Richard Gordon joins us now. Good morning, Senator. Thank you so much for being here. Now, first, we want to know your reaction to star witness Rafael Ragos recanting his testimonies against Senator Leila De Lima. And as we know, this was just days after Kerwin Espinosa backtracked from his allegations.
This is very unsettling. After so many years, all of a sudden, these guys come out of the woodwork. With Espinosa, that was not part of the records of the case, so he was not involved in any of the cases. With Ragos, I don't know yet. I don't know whether he's part of the testimony, but nonetheless, this is very unsettling. This puts a crimp on the trust that people should have on the criminal justice system. When witnesses change their minds back and forth, there is a suspicion of perjury, not only from the first testimony, but even in the second testimony. So this puts very, very much, decrease in public confidence in these folks. And that is why we even put up a perjury law that we put up, that we authored and sponsored in the last year, 2 years ago, which increases the crime of perjury. When somebody comes in with false testimony from the very beginning and tries to recant, that is precisely what we're trying to prevent, back and forth testimony. And this shows how sloppy the case has been. It's been 5 years, 6 years, and it even violates what we call due process, because every person is entitled to a speedy disposition of her cases, the right to confront witnesses, and to make sure that the trial proceeds so that no need for incarceration, unnecessary incarceration has happened. So if the government cannot speed up the inquiry, the Department of Justice could conduct an immediate investigation, and if they have no case, the case should immediately be dismissed. That is my position.
Right. Justice delayed is justice denied, as they say. But Senator, you question the timing kung bakit magkakasunod ang binabawi na statements against Senator De Lima?
Well, from the very beginning, if this will lie, then probably they're being bothered by their conscience. It's very difficult to put somebody in jail when she's not guilty. And I'm not saying she's not. And all I'm just saying is somebody makes a statement that is not true, that will bother him. It's like a crown of thorns on your head. You cannot remove the stain of lying in your soul. And I think this is one of the reasons why they're suddenly changing their minds, or probably because the president is now approaching lame duck status. And that Aguirre is no longer Secretary of Justice, and that the case has stayed too long.
Right. In Ragos's case, he claimed that he was coerced to testify against the lady senator. Who should be answerable for this? Is it Ragos himself? Should we be looking at the former DOJ secretary?
Automatically, these two people, including Espinosa, especially Ragos, is a public official, would be liable to an investigation for perjury. They have to find out which is the truth. Both persons have already admitted to perjury. Both testimony contradict each other. And it is very important that the Department of Justice bigla nilang hukayin yan para malaman kung talaga may perjury and there is perjury. They should go after Ragos, they should go after Espinosa, because these are statements under oath, and that is the bedrock of prosecution of cases. Kung pabalik-balik at paulit-ulit o niloloko nila, talagang dapat malaman niya sapagkat talagang you are thwarting the government's ability to ferret out the truth. Truth is the objective of any trial, and if there is any cloud of doubt, then the case should be dismissed.
Well, when it comes to getting down to the truth, who should investigate this? I spoke to the Prosecutor General earlier this week. He said it should really be the Ombudsman. The Ombudsman is in the best position to carry out an investigation. Do you agree with that? Or do you also feel that maybe the DOJ should also investigate this matter?
Well, the DOJ is the lawyer of the government. He's in charge of all the prosecutors of our country. And if there is any wrongdoing here which constitutes graft and corruption, then the ombudsman can come in. Or we can form a special inquiry, a special board of investigation, as they've done in the Aquino cases in the past, to ferret out. This is a case of primordial importance to the country. A sitting senator has been accused and has been detained for the last 6 years, where practically he was not able to undertake her duties as senator. And I really don't want to go into the guilt or the innocence of Senator De Lima, but certainly I want to go into the area where why is it that witnesses of the government are suddenly going back on their duties because they've already given their testimony. The primary person responsible should be the Secretary of Justice to investigate it.
Right. Now, as far as senators are concerned, Senator Pacquiao has called or supports calls to free Senator De Lima. Do you agree with this?
I didn't get the question, Rhea. Senator Pacquiao has already asked it.
Yes, Senator Pacquiao has called for Senator De Lima to be freed and released immediately. Do you agree with this?
Well, on the basis of the law, from what I studied, Senator De Lima is being denied her day in court. Senator De Lima is being prosecuted by spurious witnesses who are now recounting their testimony. And that is why it is important that the Department of Justice immediately step in and conduct the investigation as soon as possible. Otherwise, they should let her go.
All right, sir, let's talk now about Pharmally. If we can change topics. Pharmally officials Lincoln Ong and Mohit Dargani are asking Senator Tito Sotto to release them. They say that they've been detained without a case for almost a year, and they're citing you and your political ambition as the primary causes for their detention. What's your reaction to that, sir?
They will always cite the devil and the scripture to try and get them off the hook. These are people who betrayed our country. They stole from us. They supped in their Lamborghinis and their Porsches, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. And they collaborated with corrupt officials of the government appointed by the president to steal practically almost 12 billion pesos. And up to now, they refuse to provide evidence, and that's why they're in contempt. They're delaying the course of the investigation of the Senate. They're not being punished, but the effrontery of trying to prevent the Senate from ferreting out the truth, that is the essence of a congressional investigation, a Senate investigation. And they deserve no pity, no compassion, because they have not been compassionate to our people as well. In fact, we have already allowed Mr. Lincoln Ong to visit his daughter when she got sick. Also, we have allowed the girl Dargani to be released, and she's under the custody of her mother. Now, the two people who tried to escape, Mohit Dargani, who tried to escape, put in a lot of money to try and get a chartered plane to Dubai, is now asking for this. Who are they kidding? I think it behooves the President of the Philippines to immediately instruct the Secretary of Justice to punish Leong, his friend, Mr. Yang, as well as Liu Wen-shou, who's hiding in Dubai and who's way out there while his wife is campaigning and overspending, and allegedly she's been vote buying. So what are we talking about? Besides, let me just say this. These people have approached us and even talked with me and said that they're asking for, that they were going to cooperate. We allowed them to go out. they said that they were going to get the documents. We even allowed them to go out. But then they never produced the documents. They never even bothered to go out. They've been repeatedly trying to create all kinds of, contraptions to try and get out. They even tried to get influential people from the government. They talked to Senator Soto, Senator Lacson. They tried to talk to me. And by the way, just last week, a former colleague of mine from the Department of Tourism approached me that the lawyer of these people, again, was saying they were going to give contributions to my campaign if I let them go. And I said, that's never going to get anywhere with me.
Wow. So moving forward, Senator, what happens to the Pharmally officials and why isn't there a case yet?
You know, this is the Senate should be respected by the President, as she should respect the COA. And I did it on the lap of the President. And I know he's going to hit me again and again because the cat is out of the bag. And these are people that he has been seen in pictures. Ping Pong Ong has been in the office of the President. So, may duda na, bakit ganyan? Bakit cavalier ang treatment sa kanila? And I can only say that that's why the President is part of the report of betrayal of trust upon the Filipino people, because these are people that known to him, and he allowed them to do their will and rob the people of badly needed equipment for our doctors while some of them were dying, some in fact have died. And it's a whole 9 yards. Now the President is targeting me every day, and that's why you can see na talagang may kalokohan talaga nangyari dyan.
All right, our conversation with Senator Dick Gordon continues after the break. How is his campaign going with only 3 days left? This is a source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat-Cotrillo. Our guest today, Reelectionist Senator Dick Gordon. Welcome back, sir. I'd like to talk now about your campaign. We're on the final week, the final days, really. How has it been so far? Have you been able to visit all the places you wanted and reach all the people you wanted?
Well, so much to do, so little time. Our shorties with Lenny, with the Vice President, we're given very, very limited time, and that I disdain, because this is the time when people should be able to listen to the issues. And if you ask me, I don't think the people are getting enough of the issues that they should know about, that they should talk about. But the campaign, as far as I'm concerned, everybody I've met has been very kind, have been very supportive. They've commended us for investigation in Pharmally. They say, I'm brave. And I said, no, I'm not brave. Naninindigan lang ako sa tama at sinasabi ko lang yung hindi nyo masabi. Kaya ginagawa ko ito para paglaban. And this has cost me, Tia. I knew that by going steadfast into the fray and being very frank and candid, it was going to cost me. I'm being penalized for doing my job, ferreting out the truth. And of course, as you know, thousands and thousands of trolls have been raised by the President. The President has promised me, and I quote, bababuyin kita hanggang mamatay ka. And he's doing it, and I know I'm not a little boy. I've met bullies like him before, and I know that he can do a lot worse. But we have to do something about this country. Somebody has got to fight. Somebody has got to make the statements that has to be said. And let justice be done, though the heavens fall. I mean, what is a position to win if we cannot have justice in this country? To my mind, this is one of the biggest heists that was attempted that was completed by this country by foreigners friendly to the President, by cronies of the President, and yet nothing, absolutely nothing has been done by the executive to pursue them. In any country, they would have already sicked the FBI or investigative agencies against these people, and they have not done so. So I'm pretty aware of the effort being undertaken. Just the other day, pati Recos, tinitira niya, wala siyang patawad. And that's okay. I'm not a crybaby. He is the crybaby. He's acting like, somebody whose hand got caught in the very big cookie jar with his friends.
So given this very intense campaign period and how words have been passed between you and the president in the past few months. Would you say that this campaign is harder than your previous ones? In what way, and how have you been managing it?
This campaign is hard because the president is against me. It's Gordon against the president. It's Duterte putting me on his rifle sight to destroy my candidacy. And he's told all the mayors, he told 75,000 people in Cebu, including all the mayors, not to support me. This is a test of whether the people will listen to a president. He might seem popular, he's still in power, but I've seen mighty presidents fall in the past. Hitler was very popular. Everybody was raising their hands. Mao Zedong was very popular. And later on, he was pilloried. In fact, there's only one portrait remaining of Mao Zedong. And people will realize, and Mr. Duterte will be judged by history. Can you imagine a president telling us that he threatened to kill his own spokesman the other night? This is somebody that is really out of the mold of being a model for the entire country. And to my mind, we have to really stand up and fight for our country.
Sir, how did you deal with the president's accusations against you about the Philippine Red Cross? He made professional attacks against you. He made personal attacks against you.
Oh, when people run out of arguments, legal arguments, and we're both lawyers, they will use personal invective. They will invent things. They will say everything, including my shape of my body, including what I wear. The Red Cross has done a lot more for him and for the country. We are the ones that tested so much, and he can ask his cabinet members. I have it on tape. All of them to a man said without the Red Cross, we would not have been able to fight COVID. And in fact, we tested 5.5 million testing, more than anybody else, including private and public sector. And we have done our vaccination with buses. We have reached out. We have built 151,000 houses for those who lost their homes during disasters. We have given a lot of resources coming from the entire world. We do not get tax money from the government. In fact, the government owes us money for our testing, and sasabihin pa niya, mukhang pera kami. What kind of a president do we have here?
Senator, ano ang iba pang mga challenges in campaigning now, since, as you said, the president asked mayors and LGUs not to support you? How does that affect the way you campaign, your strategy, and on the ground?
The truth is the principal casualty. I'm going to be the proximate casualty, but I would like to ask everybody to stop, start analyzing, the media has been sidelined. The legitimate media has been sidelined by the trolls. They have used the telephone, the cell phones, and the internet to peddle their lies. And these are all paid hacks. And, natatakot ako na ang mga tao natin hindi maka-analyze. This is a country where the government has failed to even teach Juan de la Cruz little boy to read. And he's the lowest in the world in reading. He's one of the lowest in mathematics. This is a country that has allowed China to run roughshod upon our sovereignty. And yet, the trolls managed to insulate the president, managed to destroy all his enemies, all his perceived enemies. And that's why the enemy of the people, you know who it is, and they're the ones paying all these trolls. I hope nakikinig yung mga bata. We get now most of our news from contrived statements. They make statements that are not true. And I really pity the country, pity the people that cannot analyze and cannot think for itself.
Right. Sir, let's look at the latest Pulse Asia survey. You are currently ranking at the 15 to 20, and that is outside the magic 12. What was your reaction to this latest survey?
There's no magic to it. Surveys are a snapshot. I've been there before. Surveys do not vote. It's the people who vote. You've heard the argument before. Kung just survey, mag-survey na lang tayo, huwag na tayo mag-election. Surveys do not put us in office. It is the sovereign people who put us in office. And, I have a mind to stopping all these surveys. I don't know why the Supreme Court said that there was a law that says surveys should not be published because they really are mind management. Surveys can be thwarted. People try to find out where they're going to conduct the surveys and flood it with price and cash so that they will be popular. I've seen that before. I've seen popular people in surveys well and have been deposed.
Now, do you feel, sir, na nahihirapan ang mga re-electionists ngayon dahil matindi ang laban? Or do you think it's people's reactions to how certain senators dealt with the pandemic? Is it harder now for re-electionists?
No, I think nahihirapan tayo to tell the truth because there's that big wall, that big propaganda tool that has been discovered by evil ones to ferret out lies. This is a country that should be listening to its politicians. Politicians are not necessarily bad. The people should hear what they have to say about their people and not just sloganeering and not just talking about what they want to say. People want to know what they stand for, what their records are, and if the people cannot get that, then they will not vote wisely and people will pay. I'll just say this. Since 1945, when we got our independence in 1946, almost 7.5 decades have passed, and the country has not grown. It has gone down in stature. Once we had the highest literacy rate in Asia, now we're one of the lowest. Once we had trains, now we don't even have trains. We lost our railways. And everywhere, Japanese overtook us right away. The Chinese has overtaken us also. Singaporeans, the Koreans whom we helped, they're very poor. They've overtaken this country. And I attribute that to poor scrutiny of people who are running for office. And if that is the case, that is why we're way behind our neighbors in Asia and the people suffer. They may not think they will not suffer, pero ginagawa nilang pustahan yung eleksyon. Akala mo may pusta yung mga tao at ang importante manalo sila sa pustahan pero talo ang tao. Yan ang masakit.
Sir, do you think that you still have a chance in entering the Magic 12?
Sorry?
Do you believe, sir, that you still have a chance to break into the top 12 on Monday?
So, things have happened. Remember, Mr. Marcos during the vice presidential campaign was way ahead of Mrs. Lenny. And let me just say also that I was also number 15 several times, number 20 in fact, but I got in. But winning is not the only purpose here. The purpose is to really enlighten the electorate, and I say we have all failed in trying to make sure that the public is properly informed of the issues so that they can actually elect. And nobody is doing anything about it. Nobody is complaining about it. As a candidate, I would be suspect in complaining. Sabihin, mababa ang service ko. But sino bang loser talaga? Ang loser ang tao if they cannot get the information correct.
All right, so we're going to be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Reelectionist Senator Dick Gordon. Senator, let's talk about Vice President Leni Robredo and where she is. According to the surveys, she's in second place and a very far second place from the survey frontrunner Bongbong Marcos. As a veteran politician, you've seen many things. What do you think the chances are for Robredo's camp? Senator, sorry, please unmute yourself.
It isn't over until it's over. As far as what I see, what I perceive, and I don't look at the survey numbers because I look at the crowds. It's spontaneous. People going there on their own, standing for hours on end in the heat and in the rain, bringing their families with them. It's become an opportunity for them to express themselves. And I'm very happy, and I commend the young people who are finally involved in the fray. It's not the personalities of the politicians that matter now. It's the fact that people are beginning to get involved because I suppose they feel that they have not been given their fair place under the sun, and they have not been able to say their piece. But still, we're still short of making sure that the electorate is able to understand. It is important to note that politics is a conscious effort to vote freely and wisely. And if people go to the rallies and that is ignored by the surveys, I've got to question the surveys because the surveys may be missing something, and I know they are because I see the reality of people who really want change hundreds of thousands of them, and I can see, walang hakot. I can see, I've been around. It is not just one meeting, but one meeting after the other, trying to outdo themselves in terms of the cooperation of the public who want to go there and be seen and be heard.
Senator, should you win a Senate seat once again, what will be your priorities? What will you push for?
That's why the president doesn't want me to win. If I win, I can go after him again in terms of justice for the people in Pharmally. I've been able to win some in the Blue Ribbon. We were able to prosecute the fraternity brothers of the president, whom he appointed himself. They're now languishing in jail for life imprisonment. These are two Sambeda people. I'm sorry to mention school, but hindi naman yung school may kasalanan, sila may eskwela. Now, another friend of the president, Mr. Aguirre, is being pointed out as the one who tried to subornation of the witness. So what will I do? I will try to see and make sure that all the laws are enforced. Let me ask the people, kailan kayo nakakuha ng bagong plaka nyo for the last 12 years? People don't even get their license plates. There are thousands and thousands, millions practically of motorcycles, and they're using old plates, they're using ramshackle plates, and the government has not been able to give them anything. People are going hungry. Young people are stunted. So we have to come up with the laws that will make sure that young people would eat, because everybody tells us our kids are stunted. People are saying our education is shot. We should send our teachers, and I've done that. I act first and just enhance the law later on. There is 5 million in every normal college, which prepares the teachers of this country. And I'm urging them to use the 5 million in each normal school to send teachers to school to abroad, so that they can learn from abroad and find out why we're behind. We're behind in education. Our military is way behind. Our military is one of the weakest, one of the 5 weakest. So there are many things that we should put our mind to. And you need experience, you need vision, and you need good values and integrity so that we can get it done. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get it, because the elections are skin deep. The campaign is skin deep. It's all like the circuses in town, except for the Lenny rallies where people go on their own and listen. I don't think they're even able to listen well, because there's just too many people out there. But nonetheless, the absence of debates, the absence of discourse, and I appreciate this program, because these are the things that we should be talking about. We should be asking our possible senators who are in the survey front runners, now is the time to ask them, mananalo kayo, akala nyo, anong gagawin mo? Because this is a time that there is enough time to scrutinize these folks who have sordid records, if you will.
Right.
And this is the time to ask them.
Okay, sir, thank you for your time this morning. That was Reelectionist Senator Dick Gordon. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. You are watching CNN Philippines.